Hi there everybody, my name is Louie, and since this coronavirus thing isn't gonna go away anytime soon, a lot of kids aren't allowed to go back to school, which is for the best, it's for the safety, but I thought, since I basically know everything there is to know about school and knowledge and smartness and everything, that I maybe could teach the kids via the internet. And so that's why I've created 60-Second Schoolhouse. Pretty good title. So now call me Mr. Louie. And every weekday I'm gonna post a new 60-second lesson for them until I don't want to anymore and I decide to stop. So check back here tomorrow and there will be your first lesson. So I look forward to having you in my class. Audition. No, I'm not talking about when you audition for a play or a big Hollywood movie and you used to be a funny chubby guy but then you become a serious muscular guy. No, I'm talking about audition like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, that kind of stuff. Audition is basically when you have something and then you get something else. Like when on Christmas my parents got me a brand new bicycle. But then my grandma also got me a bicycle. And then they got into a big fight and my grandma said that my parents needed to communicate better. But anyway, now I have 2 bicycles because they didn't save the receipts. And unfortunately, I haven't seen my grandma around much lately. I think there's some bad blood. Rocks rock, dude. And I'm not just talking about the rock and roll with the electric guitars and the Hard Rock Cafe and everything. I'm talking about real rocks. Hard, well, these are a different kind of hard rock in the more literal sense. And so there's 3 types of rocks. There's igneous rocks, sedentary rocks, and metamucil rocks. And so the differences between these 3 is how they are made. You see, igneous rocks come from lava that gets a cold and it has to take a nap and so it curls up into a little ball and then becomes a rock. Sedentary rocks are from dirt and gravel and stuff that you find in your belly button and it all sort of smooshes together. And then metamucil rocks you can just buy at Walgreens, especially if you got a coupon. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. What I just did was the alphabet. It was created by the earth so that we could have words coming out of our teeth. So just memorize those letters and you'll be on your way to success. Now let's try it backwards. Z, Y, X, W, V, this is hard, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. There, easy. My mom had to do that once for a police officer. I'm going to teach you about the planets that are in our solar system. So first this is the sun, which isn't a planet, it's the sun. And then you got right here, this little guy, that's Mercury. And that's is the first one and kind of the most boring. So first is the worst. Then you got Venus. And Venus is all gassy like I am today. And then you got Earth, and that's where we are and where all our friends are. And then you got Mars, which is cherry red like a little hot rod. And then you got Jupiter, which is the big boy, the heavy of the bunch. And then you got Saturn, which got this big onion ring thing. And then you got you got this one. This one's called Uranus. Hi there. We're gonna take things down a notch because it's time for silent reading time. Silent reading time. So grab yourself a nice little book you want to curl up with. I'm reading A Brief History of Time. I figure it's got brief right in the title, so it's probably pretty easy to read. So find a pillow or another soft spot and just relax. This pillow's a little lumpy. Pillow? How am I supposed to relax when we've got lumpy pillows? The coolest person ever was Harriet Tubman. She was born a slave, and it was awful. You'd hate it. Even when she was just a little kid like me, she had to work all day and she got treated horribly. But one day, she snuck out like a little ninja and escaped to Philadelphia, where she could be free and eat all the cheesesteaks she wanted. And she lived happily ever after. The end. Or was it? What makes Harriet Tubman the coolest was that even though she could have just been eating Scrapple with the Philly fanatic all day, she decided to help loads of other slaves too. And she was even a spy in the Civil War. And, I bet she was a really good skateboarder too, and could do a 360 pop shove it. And she probably lived in a house made of pizza called the Pizza Pad. Shapes. The building blocks of life. There are 3 basic shapes you gotta know. It is vital. So you got a circle, you got a triangle, and then you got a square. And so these shapes are the most important out of all the shapes. Now you might be wondering why. Well, the answer is simple. You see, circle is the flame attack, and triangle is first person mode, and then square is the charge attack. Oh, I forgot to put X on here. You see, X, that's the jump button. So these are vitally important because these are the controls for all 3 Spyro games on the PlayStation. And I love those games, being a little dragon running around everywhere. So it's very, very important. You see, frogs are not born like you or me, where a funny little bird in a hat drops you at your mother's doorstep wrapped in a cozy blanket. No. You see, frogs start off as little eggs, which look like clear little marbles with little gumdrops in them. And then they grow up a little bit and they become tadpoles. And you see, tadpoles are like weird little fish things, and they're all swimming around and they got these long tails. And I had a tail when I was born, but the doctors removed it before I got to preschool because they said it was a health concern. But I wish I still had a tail, because I could use it to do all sorts of things. Like I could swing off trees, and I could grab things. It'd be a little helper for me. And, I could even use it to control the second controller for my Xbox. And then I'd always have a player 2. Subtraction is like addition, except not at all, because it's the complete opposite. Instead of adding stuff, you're taking stuff away, which sounds bad, but it can be good sometimes. Like, one time I lost a tooth, and I wiggled it out of my craw, and it was all bloody, but it was pretty cool. And then I put it under my pillow, and the next day the tooth fairy gave me this. It's a shiny quarter. See, it's got the little ponytail person and everything. And it's even got a thing on the back. It says New York, and it's the Statue of Liberty sniffing her own armpits. So, yeah, subtraction isn't all bad. It doesn't have to be negative, except, technically, yes, it does have to be negative, but it can be good. My teacher says not to pass notes during class. No. But there's one kind I know you can pass, And those are music notes. It's this fancy little drawing with these notes that go up and up and up as the sound gets higher. And they go E, G, B, D, F. And there's a simple way to remember that. And that's every good boy deserves fudge. And when my music teacher first sang that sweet melody to me, oh boy, it sent me for a spiral. I thought, well, I don't have any fudge. Am I a good boy? Oh no, I'm not a good boy because I didn't get any fudge. Don't I deserve fudge? And then I freaked out and they had to close school for the day until they got me fudge. Mesopotamia, was a place a long time ago. And basically what happened was there were a bunch of guys from the olden days and they were just hanging out and being like, oh, hell yeah, electricity hasn't been invented yet, so that's not great. And then they found this, the fertile croissant. And they were like, hey, this is a pretty fertile croissant. And so they settled down and just kind of hung out and invented civilization. So thanks, guys, because without civilization, I wouldn't have Dave and Buster's. This is the color wheel. And no, I didn't steal it off of a clown car. This is a graph that shows all the colors ever made. So you got reds up here, and you got yellows over here, you got blues, you got periwinkles, you got magentas, you got chartreuse. So you got all these colors, but then you got these special lines, and they show you complementary colors. And so these are colors that go together and they play nice. But then there's backhanded complementary colors. And those are colors that, well, they seem nice together at first. A couple seconds later, you start to feel bad and like they almost insulted you. My mom does that to my dad a lot. Photosynthesis is how plants eat. They eat the sun and they tan in it, just like my great aunt Linda. She looks like if your fingers were made out of beef jerky and you stayed in the bath too long. She goes to the pool every day, but I've never actually seen her swim. I don't know if she knows how to. But she just sort of roasts in the sun, absorbing the waves, and talks to her friend Barbara about how the new sign to her condo complex is a bit much. So, if you want your plant to go really big and strong, you just bring it to the pool and get it a lawn chair and just have it sort of roast in the sun and gossip about the neighbors. Because I think that's what my great aunt Linda does, and she's really cool, and I love her very much. Today, I am Mr. Louis, Safety Officer. Safety at work is important, but safety at play? That's even more important. Whether you're on a bicycle, tricycle, unicycles, rolly skates, jetpack, torpedo, etc., you need to be safe. And the best way to do that is by wearing a helmet. My mom got me a cool helmet that makes me look like Stuart from the Minions movies. But sometimes a helmet isn't enough, and that's where my special method comes in. Bubble wrap. Just wrap this around yourself, and you're ready to play. I hope you're ready to learn, because here comes the money! Woo! Oh! Don't show the coins! Oh, jeez, you really got me there. Sorry, guys. My friend Keith is helping me out with the video today, and I wasn't expecting him to pelt me in the face. Anyway, money is the paper that you give to men who smell like cigarettes so you can get crispy M&Ms at the gas station. Money also comes in another form. These may look like tiny frisbees for your hamster, but these are actually called coins. And even though money doesn't grow on trees, coins do grow between your couch cushions. Just don't try to grow them yourself like I did. I poured red Powerade all over the couch thinking I would grow more coins, but all I did was make some fungus and there were little mushrooms growing under there. In this day and age, you gotta learn to type. And there's a few keys that are especially important, like the enter key. So the enter key is how you get Google to answer your questions, like which sites are the best for playing video games that are not educational. I'm tired of those. And then there's also the shift key. And you gotta be careful with the shift key, because if you press it too many times, something pops up called sticky keys. And I don't know what sticky keys does, but it doesn't make your keys sticky. But I will tell you what does make your keys sticky, and that's orange mousse. So orange mousse is a mixture of Cheeto dust and orange soda. And one time I was drinking it on my dad's computer and I spilled it all over it. And so now I'm only allowed to use my leapfrog. We know them, we love them, we may even have one as a pet. But did you know there's over like a dozen animals in the world? And they can be classified into a few basic groups. So the first group of animals is the creepy crawlies. These are basic spiders, daddy long legs, centipedes, and stuff like that. Then you got critters. Critters are chipmunks and squirrels and stuff like that. Then you got sweetie pies. And sweetie pies are puppy dogs and kitty cats and stuff like that. And then you got squishy things. And so that's anything squishy like a octopus or a squid. And then you got critters too. This is the second group of critters. And this is stuff like a monkey or a sea lion. And then you got the big boys like elephants and giraffes. And then the last group is sharks. That was my coach whistle, 'cause today it is gym class, and we're gonna ride around on scooters. I bet you're thinking, ooh, I can't wait to grab those handlebars and zip around on a Razor scooter and really shred some gnar. But I'm a tricky little weasel, because even though I said scooters, what I really meant are these little weird things. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're also called scooters, but it always feels like my gym teacher is trying to trick me or something, because then we just sit on these pizza box things all day. Well, anyway, we're just going to kind of roll around on these on the floor until someone inevitably rolls over their fingers and has to go to the nurse. So, have fun! Whee! We're going to do a mad minute. That's when you got a sheet of math problems and you do as many as you can before a minute ends. Let's go. All right. 1 plus 1. That's 2. There. Easy. You know, I had an easy bake oven once, but then my chinchilla crawled inside there and he got roasted to little itty bits. So we weren't allowed to use it anymore and we had to throw it out. Oh, the Mad Minute. Let's see, minute, I could go for some Minute Maid pink lemonade right about now. I like pink lemonade. Do they have pink lemons? Where are they getting those from? I gotta do this. Oh no, we're running out of time. Teacher, could we restart? Wait, I am the teacher. Oh, this minute is mad, I say. Mad! Genre is just a fancy French word for what kind of story you're reading, or watching in a movie, or a play, or playing in a video game. The most popular genres are as follows. Mystery, that's where they don't know something and they need to crack a case to figure it out. There's science fiction, and that's with spaceships and aliens and stuff. Historical fiction, which is boring. Dinosaur fiction, dragon fiction, family that's a bunch of bears fiction, and ones where a food comes to life and runs away fiction. So that's it. Those are all the genres. So lesson over. Oh, hi. Well, today we're gonna learn about geography, and see, these are all the countries of the world, and they make up geography stuff. Let's see. Well, this is the United States, and up north, well, that's where they make the maple syrup. But then the text is pretty small on this, so it's kind of hard to see. Well, here, these ones are big. This is Russia, and that's China. That's where all my toys come from. But then you got ones in this little weird area. I think this one's Narnia or something. Ooh, there's one called Chad. I got a friend named Chad. I gotta tell him about that. This is the next level. Multiplication is like the sequel to addition. It's taking something and making a lot more of it. It's like making clones or something. I've been trying to get cloned for a while now, and my friend has a dad whose friend has a cousin who I guess works at like a cloning factory. And so my friend said that to be cloned, you have to be really strong. And so I've been going to Jamba Juice every day and getting a fruit smoothie. And I want to be strong enough to be cloned. And then I can get 100 clones and start the biggest band ever where each clone plays a different instrument. And we're all going to call ourselves the Clone Bones because we're all going to dress up like skeletons and play our bones like xylophones. Way back in the olden days, America was owned by England. So the King of England, well, he started making stuff really expensive for Americans. So a bunch of Americans in ponytails, they got real upset. And so they snuck onto a ship late at night. And they took all their big crates of tea and they dumped it in the ocean. And so then the ocean, well, it just became a big, big cup of tea. And so the guys in ponytails just stuck their heads in and went, and they had all the tea they needed. And so then also the fishes and the octopuses in the ocean, well, they got to drink all the tea too, but they didn't have any crumpets. And that's how the American Revolution started. Spelling. You gotta know how to spell. The thing is, computers nowadays, you can just type random gibberish and it'll try to make a word out of it. But you gotta learn how to spell right. You don't want the computer to do it for you. That's embarrassing. And, oh, speaking of embarrassing, I can spell embarrassing for you, because it's a bit of a tricky word. So, let's see. Well, M, it obviously starts with an M for embarrassing. And then, let's see, so there's like maybe 2 or 3 B's. Let's say 2.5. And then U, R, U, S, 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 I, N, P, P, G, G, Q. And that's pretty much how you spell. You just list letters until you get it right. Stars. They're so beautiful, aren't they? Twinkling in the night sky. Oh, but what if you put those stars together and made shapes out of them? Pretty cool, huh? That's what constellations are. Some guys in robes a bajillion years ago were bored because television hadn't been invented yet, and so they played connect the dots with all the stars. And so now we get stuff like the Big Dippy and the Little Dippy, which look like big soup ladles full of minestrone. But then you get ones called like Canis Venatici, and that one's just 2 stars making a line. So, I guess the old guys phoned in a couple of them and tried to make up for it by giving them fancy names. Oh well, everyone does their homework on the bus sometimes. Sorry I'm late, guys. I totally forgot I had to do this today. I dropped everything as soon as I remembered. I didn't even get to eat my lunch, which, honestly, I'm still a little peckish. But, anyway, today's lesson is graphs. You see, up here you got a line graph, and it's got these long lines, and it's all squiggly like a spaghetti, or... okay, then you got the bar graph, and it's got bars like chocolate bars, or Butterfingers, or... Oh, you gotta do the lesson. Okay, then you got a pie. Oh, it looks like a boysenberry pie, or a pecan. Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I gotta go eat. Lesson over. Oh! It's lunchtime in the old cafetorium, and I usually bring my own lunch. I like to bring a bologna sandwich with fruit roll-up and a little juice box and a clementine and a granola bar, and you can also order lunch from the cafeteria. Like you can get a whole wheat rectangle of pizza. Sometimes my friend would order a chocolate milk, and then we'd take my granola bar and we'd roll it up into a little log, and then I'd dunk it in his chocolate milk, and then we'd throw it on the floor, and it looked like someone had an accident. So then they all let us go to recess early, because they said it was like a biohazard or whatever for us to stay around there. So if you want to go to recess early, just poop on the floor. Cursive is like regular writing, but with a little extra panache, a little paprika in the sandwich. And, well, you know how when you go to a pizza place, there's sometimes a picture on the wall of some baseball player you've never heard of, and they got their autograph on the picture? Well, that autograph is cursive, and it's really easy to do. I'll show you how to do it. So, you just start writing like regular, but then you make it a little scribbly, and you just kind of really have fun with it, and make it as hard to read as possible. And then, bam! That's cursive. So, congratulations, you just did it. Now try to go for as fast as you can. Clefs. No, I'm not talking about a butt chin where you got the little crack in the middle. That's called a cleft. I'm talking about musical clefs. The treble clef and the bass clef. And you see, the cool thing about these clefs is they actually used to be friends and they used to be lovers. But you see, bass clef over here got jealous at treble clef because look at these swirls. Treble clef was all double jointed and showing off and everything, whereas bass clef is a little boring little comma. So bass clef got jealous and moved to the lower gate or whatever this is called. And then she moved on her own and adopted 2 little kids, these 2 little dots from Switzerland. And they don't really talk anymore, but treble clef definitely respects bass clef for raising 2 kids on her own. Hey, freshman, give me your tech deck or I'll make you eat a bug. That was an example of a bullying. Bullying is when someone with a buzz cut and a t-shirt with a skull on it sticks a paper that says "kick me" on your back. Bullies can also be the quarterback who only ever wears a Letterman jacket and has blonde hair and is probably named Chad. But those are the only 2 types of bullies, so just look out for people who look like that, because they might want to take your milk money or give you a wedgie. Ooh, but here's a tip. If you don't wear underwear, they can't give you a wedgie. A couple hundred years ago, old Tommy Jefferson bought a bunch of land from some French guy because it was a great deal, a real doorbuster. But he didn't really know what kind of land he was buying until he already bought it, kind of like what my mom does with stuff from QVC. So he found two cute boys, Lewis and Clark, and said, guys, we gotta figure out what's out there. So they sailed across the old Mississippi, and they met a woman named Sacagawea, and they were like, we don't know what's out here. We're scared. And she said, it's okay. I've lived here my whole life. I know this place like the back of my dang hand, dummies. So she helped them out, and they saw all this land, and they said, yep, this would be a good place for Nebraska to go. And that's how we got all those states in the middle of the country. And now Sacagawea is on a shiny gold coin. Poems sometimes rhyme, but they don't have to. I made a poem that does rhyme. It's called Summer on the Farm. A cow says moo to a soft brown puppy. The farmer's son fishes in the pond for a guppy. Horses prance all over the fields. A pig chows down on slop for his meal. Finish the day with a bowl of ice cream. Oh no, you woke up. It was all a dream. And then everyone in the audience snaps their fingers, but I don't know how to snap my fingers yet. My friend Keith in the grade above me, he's going to teach me how to do that. Why don't you take a seat there? It's time for the big talk. The birds and the bees. So, the birds and the bees are basically when, when two people love each other very much, they decide to do something together. And that something is go to the zoo. And they see gorillas and they ride camels, but then they go to the bird of prey exhibit. And there, they take a little sippy of their Sprite, and then a bee flies into their mouth and stings their tongue, and they talk funny for the rest of the day because their tongue's all puffy. You see, that's what happened when me and my grandpappy went to the zoo, and I love him very much. So, that's basically all I know about the birds and the bees. So, you're all set for life. And it's very important that you don't drink Sprite by the birds of prey exhibit. It's time for the big rope climb in gym class. I got some rope here, but it's a little tangled at the moment. So if you're at home, just put up a rope yourself and climb it to your heart's content. We've never actually really done this at my school. I've only ever seen it in movies and TV and stuff. But from what I gather, it's just like a big dramatic moment where no one believes in you, but then you try to get up there, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I don't actually know what you do once you go up there. They usually just cut to the next scene after that. I guess you could try to hop down, but then I feel like you could be squashed like a bug. Maybe they have to get the firefighters to come rescue you like a stray cat. Anyway, I'm gonna try to untangle this. Just a little, whoa, whoa! Musical instruments. There's like a bazillion to choose from. Although my school makes us all play the same one, the recorder. Although, actually, I got my recorder privileges revoked for misbehaving in class. So now all I'm allowed to play is this little beauty, the kazoo. And that's fine with me, because the kazoo is like the easiest instrument to play in the whole wide world. Watch. Let me try that again. Oh, I know. this is really what a kazoo sounds like. There, see? Easy. Hush up, Buster. We're visiting the library. A library is where you can go on all sorts of fun adventures with books. One time, I took out a book about tree frogs, and I brought it home. But then my little kitty cat peed a bunch on it, and so it really stunk up the joint. So, to try to get rid of the smell, I took toothpaste, fluoride free, and I rubbed it all over the book. But then, you couldn't see the pictures of the tree frogs. So, then I took out my handy magic marker, and I drew some new pictures of frogs in the book. It looked better than ever. So then, I tried to bring it back, but the librarian got very mad at me, and she said she was going to have to call my parents. But that's the kind of fun stuff that can only happen in a library. I don't have a microscope, so I can't really show you myself, but it's basically like binoculars, but down. And instead of looking at stuff far away, you're looking at stuff that's real close, but it's real tiny. So, no one knows how a microscope works. No one. You just have to keep turning knobs until the fuzzy stuff looks a little clearer, and you can see the little worms swimming in your little plastic rectangle. And then you kind of go, oh, okay. And then your teacher comes over and she says, oh, you saw them? And you go, okay. And then it's snack time, and you brought Parmesan goldfish, and so you're real happy about that. And then you forget you left the microscope on, so you have to run back and turn it off, but you got Parmesan goldfish all over your hands, and so then you get the microscope all dirty. But that's basically how you work one. Welcome to Monsieur Louis' French class. I've been to France at Epcot, and so I know everything there is to know about French. The first word you should know is bonjour, and that means howdy. The next word you gotta know is croissant, and that means a piece of bread that's shaped like the moon. The last word you absolutely have to know, it's vitally important, is ratatouille. And that means there's a rat under your hat controlling your body by pulling your hairs like strings. Stranger danger! Stranger danger! That's what you should shout if you're about to get kidnapped. The word kidnapping may sound like a child taking a little snooze, but it's actually when someone tries to snatch you up. If someone tries to steal you, make a big fuss until they run away. One time, some creepy guy with a big white van asked me if I wanted ice cream. I knew he was trying to trick me, so I attacked him with my little claws, and I stuck my fingers in his eyes, slammed his head against the steering wheel, and unleashed some mixed martial arts. Well, it turns out he was just the ice cream man doing his job, but better safe than sorry. But I was pretty sorry. Listen up, friends. Sometimes you stink, but that's okay. We all smell like a little stink bug every now and again. The important thing is you try to have good hygiene. So wash your face, wash your hands, wash your butt. Oh, and shower or bathe every day, and use lots of soap and shampoo and lather, rinse, repeat and all that. But if you really want to smell good, use a little root beer and rub it in your armpits. Now I smell like an Applebee's and I'm ready for a night out. plate tectonics. So I guess there's these big plates under the earth, and there's some little circus freak in the middle, I guess, spinning them all, and that's why we get things like earthquakes and mountains and volcanoes and stuff. And the thing is, these plates are really underground, so we can't really see them. But if I did see them, I hope they have little animal faces, like the Zoo Pals plates I have. I have these little plates, and they look like a puppy dog or a kitty cat or something like that. And then they got this theme song, and I sing it whenever I eat my dinosaur chicken nuggets, and it goes like, woof, woof, Zoo Pals, oink, oink, Zoo Pals, ribbit, ribbit, Zoo Pals make eating fun. And so that's basically all you need to know about plate tectonics. Division. My mom says it's plaguing our country, but I just know it from math class. Basically, there's two types of division, long division and short division. What's the difference, you may ask? Well, it's like the tallest kid in the class and the shortest kid in the class. The tallest kid in my class was Tyler C., and he was super tall, like a skyscraper. He could reach for the top of the library bookshelf and get us all the books about the Loch Ness Monster. But then Mikey, well, he could burp on command, and that was really funny. So, I'm not sure one is better than the other, and both Tyler C. and Mikey got invited to Paulie's birthday party, so I think both are good. It's the best part of the day. It's recess. Oh, I love recess. You can go on the playground, you can play kickball, or if you're a real sneaky boy, you can trade Pokemon cards under the big red slide. But how about today we play freeze tag? It's real simple. There's one person who's it, and then they have to tag everyone, and when they get tagged, they freeze. So I guess I'm the only one here, so I guess I'll be it, and I'm also the only one playing, so I guess I'm just frozen here. No one to unfreeze me. The entire civilized world has adopted the metric system as the standard way to measure stuff. But the United States of America uses a different system. We measure in inches, feet, yards, and miles, and all those sorts of things. To demonstrate how easy it is to measure stuff, my Nana has agreed to sew me a shirt fitted to my exact measurements. And I'm actually such an expert on measuring that I think I can just eyeball it. Let's see here, my arms are like, let's say 27, my bust area is maybe like a 3. I think my pants are like a 27,000, so, yeah. So I'm just going to give these measurements to my grandma, and I'll have a perfectly fitted shirt in no time. See? It fits perfectly! Measuring is easy! Continents are like a country's big, scary older brother who will give you a little hit with his skateboard if you look at him funny. And there's 7 continents on our planet, and I'm going to teach them to you. So here's where I live. This is North America, and then she's got a twin sister named South America down here. And they kind of get along. And then here you got Asia. It's like the big boss of the whole place. And then this little creepy little weirdo is called Europe. And then over here you got Australia, and that's I guess where they invented pockets, because all the animals seem to be wearing them. And then Antarctica, which is down here, it's a little bit chilly. And then here you've got Africa, which looks like a T-bone steak. Although now that I look at it, South America kind of looks like a T-bone steak too. I guess they all kind of look like different cuts of beef. Back in the 1960s, before they invented colors, they thought the moon was one big cheese ball. So President Candy said, "I got to get me a piece of that cheese for my macaroni dinner." So he found these two guys, Lance Armstrong and Buzz Lightyear, and they already had a spaceship laying around in their garage that they weren't doing anything with. So they went up there, and then they played eeny, meeny, miny, moe to see who got to go on the moon first. Lance won, and he came out with a big flag and planted it in the ground like he was at the top of a sandwich you get at a diner. And he said, "This is America's cheese, finders keepers." And so then he picked up a cheese ball and bit it, and then all his teeth broke, because guess what? The moon's not made out of cheese, it's made out of rocks. So they just went home and got cheese at Kroger instead. Butterflies are some of the prettiest flip-flap flyers in the whole bug world, but they don't start off as the whirlybirds we know and love. No, they start off as caterpillars, these weird little bug things that munch everything they see. And then once they get bored of being a caterpillar, they go into a chrysalis, and they tuck themselves away from everyone else. Kind of like when my dad has to sleep on the couch. Anyway, once they emerge from their chrysalis, they're beautiful butterflies, and they fly away. Well, I couldn't find any caterpillars in my backyard, but I did find this worm, so I'm going to wrap him up in some toilet paper like a chrysalis, and hopefully he'll turn into a beautiful butterfly, or at least something cool. It's been a few days, so let's check up on my worm. He's dead. We're doing the mile run, and so I have a strategy for the mile run that I do every year. So it's 4 laps around the track, and the first half lap I run as fast as I can, but then I usually end up barfing, and so then I walk the next 3 laps, and then the teacher yells at me that they have to go inside because the class is over. So then I run again as fast as I can go, and then I barf again. And then we're supposed to take our pulse by touching our necks or something, and then but then I kind of just get bored by doing that, so I just make up whatever number I can think of. And then they asked me, "Was that really your pulse?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And then I have to go to the nurse, and they call my parents because they say I need to see a doctor. Scientificists have a special technique they call the scientific method. And this is what they use whenever they're doing the little experiments on little cute mice. And so they start with a question. So for example, the question is, how many magic beans does it take to get to the top of the sky to the giant's lair? And then they have a hippopotamus who predicts the future, and he tells them what he thinks is going to happen. And then they do the experiment and plant the magic beans, and then once the magic beans create a beanstalk, then they climb up to the sky in their cute little tights and their cute little lab coats flowing in the wind, and then they see that the magic beans worked, and the experiment is over, and they've reached the conclusion that magic is real. Science. This is the food pyramid. It was created by Egyptians like a bazillion years ago to tell us what to eat. So at the bottom, well, this is where they put all the boring foods like bread and cereal, although I guess you could have Lucky Charms or something. And then up here is like rabbit food that you gotta just eat before you can go upstairs and play video games. And then over here you got milks and meats and stuff, although those meats seem pretty rare. They seem pretty not cooked, so I might have to worry about a tapeworm. And then up here, you got all the good foods, the most important foods like sody pop and cuppy cakes and cookies and stuff. And they're at top because they're most important. So yeah, that's basically the whole food pyramid. Just be careful with other kinds of pyramids, because my mom said my dad got caught in a pyramid scheme, I think it was called, and now we have a bunch of extra energy drinks lying around the house. A long time ago, before they made any of the Spy Kids movies, there was a magical place called Ancient Greece. And the Greeks did a lot of stuff, including these columns. They made all these columns. There's Doric, which is kind of boring. There's Ionic, which is got these fancy little snail shell things. And then there's Corinthian, which is all fancy and it looks like an olive garden. The Greeks did a lot of other stuff, like, I can't remember the other stuff. I feel like we spent all our time talking about the differences between the columns. We spent like a whole week on that. I mean, they must have done something else, but why did we spend so much time on the columns? Oh, I guess they also invented salad. In Japan, they've got normal poems, but they've also got a special one called a haiku. And it basically goes 5 syllables, then 7 syllables, and then 5 syllables again. So using that formula, I decided to make a haiku of my own. I found stinky cheese. I slurped it up like a soup. Now, I don't feel good. Thank you. So that was actually based on a true story. I found some cheese in the back of the cupboard and I gave it a little nibble, but then I got real sick and I had to miss Polar Express Day at school, which I was really looking forward to, where they all dress up in their jammies and have cocoa. What a nice sody pop. Now I'm just going to go throw it out. No! I am going to recycle it. Recycling is like throwing stuff away in the trash, except when the guys take it away, they go turn it into other stuff. And you can recycle plastic and paper and aluminum and glass and lots of other junk. And it's good for the environment too. And you can also recycle stuff by reusing it in crafts, which is how I made this little lady, Juanita. Say hello, Juanita.
Hi everybody, my name is Juanita and I'm made of trash, but now I'm a real treasure.
And that is my new best friend, Juanita. If you're gonna write an essay or a story, you gotta break it up into chunks. And those chunks are called paragraphs. And those paragraphs have smaller chunks, sentences. And you can just remember this by thinking of a hamburger. And you see, a hamburger is broken up into parts, and the topic sentence is the top bun, the conclusion is the bottom bun, and then the stuff in the middle, well, that's all the sentences that got all the good stuff. And so you got cheese and meat and lettuce. But you maybe could also add a few other things. You could add a little bacon. You could add a little onion ring. Or you can add a little secret sauce. Oh, and then you get a free toy that comes with it. And, oh, I'm getting hungry. These paragraphs sound delicious. I need to go find one. Shapes don't only come in 2Ds, they also come in eye-popping 3D! So there's a couple 3D shapes, the basic ones being like a sphere and a cube and a rectangular prism. And rectangular prisms you can find all around you. Like, oh, look. Like this DVD I got from the thrift store. I haven't watched the movie yet, but see, look. It's called Sole Proprietorship Startup. And I think it's like an action movie where there's a renegade on the loose, and he's the sole proprietor. Coming to theaters, we cannot currently go to theaters, so watch it on the DVD, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pop it in my PS2. You gotta know about your body, cause it's the only one you got for the rest of your life. So you gotta know about your 2 cute blue eyes, your little cute little nostrils, and you gotta know about your 2 ears. And you gotta know that those are all places you can get yummy snacks like boogers and earwax and stuff. and those snacks go in your house. This is like tongue, and these are like teeth. And then you got the rest of the body, like your arms and legs and stuff. But my favorite part of the body is, well, here, let me show you. My favorite part is my belly button. Oh, and these are my 2 nipples. Sometimes my mom says she feels directionless, but then I just show her my compass and tell her about cardinal directions. I guess they're called cardinal directions because they were invented by birds or something. Anyway, the directions are north, east, south, and west. And the way my teacher taught us to remember that is never eat soggy waffles. But I don't know what she's talking about, because I love soggy waffles when I get so much maple syrup in there that they get all soggy, and then when I'm done with the waffle, there's a puddle of syrup there, and I lick it up like a little kitty cat. Oh, that's the best. So, I don't know what those cardinals are talking about, because I would say sometimes eat soggy waffles. There once was a tall, handsome, animatronic man with a top hat and a beard named Abraham Lincoln. Oh, where does top hat go? Well, anyway, he was president when the country was at war, and people were fighting because some people wanted to own and enslave black people. And the other people were like, hey, that's one of the worst things you can do. So they were fighting, and old Linky decided to give a rousing speech at a place called Gettysburg. And he started the speech like this. 407 years ago, which, by the way, if you're playing a video game for 7 years and your score is only 4, you should probably just try playing another game, buddy. Magnets. How do they work? Why, it's a miracle, of course. Magnets are like little metal horseshoes that use magic powers to grab other metal stuff. See? I was able to pick up all these metal paper clips off the ground using its magical wizardry. So, yeah, it can basically pick up anything that's metal. I think my camera is metal. Let's see if I can pick that up. Let's see here. This. Maybe I gotta rub it right up against. I learned something new about magnets, and it's that if you bring them too close to your dad's camera, it'll break it. Now I'm not allowed to make videos for a while.
Louie?
Sorry guys, I gotta go. I love you. Mwah. Bye!